You can make more money in a competitive market than you can make investing in a non-competitive market. Here's what I mean. If you're heading into a market right now, let's say you're in some backwoods town in Arkansas, okay? And homes are going for $50,000, right? And you can buy a property for $40,000. Well, that's great, but you're making 10 grand a deal. Right? And that's assuming there's no rehab. And the problem with those markets is because nobody's competing for those homes, because a lot of people don't want to live in backwoods Arkansas. And if you do live in backwoods Arkansas, I apologize. I'm not trying to be offensive here. But the reality is it's not a super competitive market. The money is being made in the highly competitive markets. And that doesn't matter if it's NFL, NBA. If you are competing at a very high level, you can make more money than in the areas where you're not competing.
Check, 1 2 1 2.
Turn it up.
Welcome to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast.
The tides are turning. The time is now.
Your home for the mindset, methodology, and tools needed to invest in foreclosures.
Don't you dare buy a house. Buy a deal. You need to get into this right now.
Yeah.
And now your host, the Foreclosure Deals Coach, Donnie Corum.
Hello, and welcome back to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. This is your host and Foreclosure Deals Coach, Donnie Corum. Thank you very much. Broadcasting live from the Creative Density Studios in downtown Denver, Colorado, with my executive producer, main man, Mr. Jonathan Winston. How's the haps, man?
You know what? I'm feeling a little bit more seasoned because my birthday is coming up in a few days. And I'm just like, there's so much that I want to do and so much that I want to accomplish, but I'm feeling pretty good about the trajectory of things. Just been kind of taking stock of, where things have gone over the past couple years. And I definitely see an upward trajectory and things moving closer to, kind of where I have envisioned for myself. So, like I said, feeling a little bit more experienced, more seasoned, and, what's the word? More excited and more hopeful for what's to come.
Love it, man. I love it. And that's the thing. It's about maintaining hope. And so much going on with this coronavirus thing. It's easy to lose hope, Right. But you're celebrating a birthday, ladies. Jonathan is still single, so if you want to take him out for a birthday dinner, go ahead and reach out to him on that. I'm sure he'd appreciate that.
Places. Let's go to Fogo.
Fogo, baby. God, I love me some Fogo. All right. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of the show here today. We've got our news article of the day, foreclosure-related news. Have you heard of anybody else, any other show out there bringing you foreclosure-specific real estate news? Have you heard that anywhere else?
I've been searching for a little bit just to see who our comp was, but I haven't found him yet.
I just don't think it exists, man. I don't think people are out there scouring the market for information about foreclosure data quite like the team here on the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. So you're in a great place. You're in a great place right now if you're trying to keep track of the trends and what's going on. But this article, this one got me really excited because, it talks about from Adam Data Solutions, who tracks foreclosure data really down to the minutia based on marketplace, and has been tracking the most vulnerable cities and counties that are going to be affected by this coronavirus thing. Now, we are so early in this process. There's just no way to know ultimately how this is going to impact the real estate market. But I can tell you from personal experience at the moment, it has not had an impact. But Adam Data is studying some markets that might be affected. And they said that the East Coast and Illinois have the highest concentration of housing markets vulnerable to coronavirus impact. Now, why are we sharing this? Do I want to frighten you? Am I trying to get you scared? No. Quite the opposite, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to know where the biggest market collapses or effects are going to be so we can get there first.
Let's get prepared and let's get to it.
Right? Because if you know what's going on in your market, if you know what's happening, if you're already living in Illinois or these areas that are highly vulnerable, you should be battening down the hatches. You should be finding your private funding. You should be learning wholesaling inside, outside, and backwards. You should be preparing yourself for the crisis that is coming, because if you're ready for the crisis, you will not only be not affected by it, but you will benefit from it. You see what I'm saying? Preparation is key right now. There's no luck to real estate investing. There's no just trip, fall, and landing. There's only analysis of data and getting out in front. I remember in the 2007, 2008 era when nobody knew how the pending mortgage crisis was going to affect the market, feeling like Chicken Little, the sky is falling. The sky is falling. We're all going to lose everything. And I personally felt that burn. And here's the thing, a lot of people did. Okay, a lot of people lost everything. It was not a good time. My house itself was in foreclosure. I was behind on payments. I watched, I know, pity me here, right, as my boat was repossessed.
No,
I know.
bring it back.
The lease on my Hummer expired and I couldn't buy out the Hummer lease. I just couldn't afford it anymore. And worst of all, ladies and gentlemen, I had to get a job. I know. It really got to me. But then, the market rebounded. Because in every single case, in every market correction in the history of real estate, going back to the beginning of time, what has gone down has come back up. Right? When the stock market crashes, they speak of Black Monday as if it was the end of the world, but the fact of the matter is, if you fast forward years later from that 1981 crash, by the way, you ever see that show, Don Cheadle, Black Monday? You ever see that show?
No, I haven't.
You
It's
have
a new
got
one,
to
right?
watch the show. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I saw that. It's on Amazon.
I think Showtime's got it.
Showtime? Okay,
I think it's a
I'll have to check it
Showtime
out.
thing. But yeah, check out that show. But, it goes into the buildup of the first season of the stock market collapse and how wealth literally fell from the sky as the market went down to zero, and largely credits, I mean, they call it Black Monday, but there's a slight reference to the fact that Don Cheadle's a black guy and that maybe his firm had a big factor in the Black Monday collapse, which would just be awesome. Like, there's just no way around, like one of the biggest, largest collapses in stock market history to have that, just incredible, right? So watch the show. My point is if these markets do suffer, if these markets who have a high density and a high likelihood of having a huge impact from the coronavirus, if they are right, you want to know before it happens, ladies and gentlemen. You want to know so you can get prepared and you can start prepare yourself to buy properties at the bottom of the market because it's going to hit the bottom a lot sooner. Is it going to go under? Absolutely not. And I wish somebody could have grabbed me. I met my mentor just a little bit just before the big collapse. But if I had been a little bit more experienced, if both of us had been a little bit more experienced, we could have entered 2008 prepared for this collapse, and perhaps I'd be having this conversation with you from my helicopter, okay? That's how just one change of the mindset of an economic collapse can completely shift your entire future.
That would be a noisy recording session.
It would be, but just awesome. Like, if we can do it, like, is there a shot? Can we record the podcast from the helicopter?
Maybe some soundproofing, but I think we might be able to make it happen, man.
I'm excited about that.
I'm thinking right now.
We're gonna do that. The Foreclosure Deals Coach helicopter coming to a town near you. Right? The point is, it's going to happen. I don't know if it's the coronavirus. I don't know if this is the market where it's going to affect it first. All we know for certain is the market's been going upwards for the last 10 years straight, consistently rising. We are seeing prices on houses that are not near in line with what things should be going for. And listen, I'm a real estate investor and agent who's been around, and even I think we are severely overpriced right now. Okay? So forget coronavirus for a second. All we know for certain is we're going to see a market correction at some point. Like, I know I've been saying it since the beginning of the show, and it hasn't exactly happened. And I think there's a couple of shows when coronavirus first hit where I may have started yelling, "I told you so," at the top of my lungs or something like that. I get excited. It happens. And yet here we are, nearly. We're pretty deep, 4 or 5 months into coronavirus, and yet still no collapse. But that doesn't mean I'm wrong. What it means is it's coming, and we need to be preparing for it. Okay? So let's get to the meat and potatoes of the show. Check out this article on the areas that are affected. And if you're in one of those areas, would you do me a huge favor? Join up to the Foreclosure Deals Coach Insider page. We'll post the link to the group here. I would love to chat with you about what's happening in your local market right now. Let's have a discussion on the show, in the group. We're going to try to do some more Facebook Lives and try to interact more with video than in sound. But I'd love to chat with you if you're in like the New York area right now, or Chicago, Chicago, East Illinois. Those are the areas they're saying that are going to be affected quite a bit. East Coast in general, New York, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., and Chicago. And notice these massive metro areas, right? They're going to have the highest impact because they're going to have the most people affected, right? And because they have the farthest way to fall.
Wow.
Because the prices are so high. Right? Just shudder for a minute at the power of all of this and get involved. All right, let's get to it. I want to take you to a place mentally for a little bit. You are an NFL football player. God bless the NFL. Let's hope we get that back.
Okay.
Right? And you step on the field and you got the ball, you're going to hike the ball, and you toss it to your team, and he runs it into the end zone, and he scores, and it's an incredible feeling. But the part of this that seems a little awkward is there is no other team.
Wait a minute.
The crowd is going wild. Oh my God, it's incredible. Oh, man, what? Or are they? Because if there was no other team that you were playing against, what would be the point of the game?
That's true.
Right? See, the idea, the very essence of the places where you can make the most money, these NFL players, what did the last guy just signed for? $10 million a year?
Dude, Patrick Mahomes signed a $500 million contract.
Yeah, $500 million contract. Do you know why they're paying Patrick Mahomes $500 million? Because he's got an amazing arm?
Probably, maybe.
My arm's pretty awesome, right? I don't know if it's $500 million, right? You see what I'm saying? No, because when it comes down to competing, Patrick Mahomes is one of the best competitors in the game today. What's my point? Well, a lot of people are posting into the groups that, I can't do deals in my market. It's too competitive here. Right, and I get all riled up, and I gotta resist the urge to just start, Facebook flaming them, just going all over. You're a punk. Like, how would you dare you say something like that? So I gotta back off.
Man up, Smalls.
So I calm down for a bit, and when I get calm, I remember to remind myself and now you that you can make more money in a competitive market than you can make investing in a non-competitive market. Here's what I mean: if you're heading into a market right now, let's say you're in some backwoods town in Arkansas, okay, and homes are going for $50,000, right, and you can buy a property for $40,000. Well, that's great, but you're making $10,000 a deal, right? And that's assuming there's no rehab. And the problem with those markets is because nobody's competing for those homes, because a lot of people don't want to live in backwoods Arkansas. And if you do live in backwoods Arkansas, I apologize. I'm not trying to be offensive here. But the reality is it's not a super competitive market. The money is being made in the highly competitive markets. And that doesn't matter if it's NFL, NBA. If you are competing at a very high level, you can make more money than in the areas where you're not competing.
Hi, this is Donnie Corum, your foreclosure deals coach. One of the things we talk about on the show is the importance of great foreclosure data in helping you to find a great deal on a foreclosure property. But where do you find this data? You're certainly not going to find it on Realtor.com. You can't get it on your local MLS. So we have partnered with data provider Foreclosures.com to get you the latest and greatest in foreclosure listings right there in your local market. These properties are not hit the market in most cases, and when they have been foreclosed, gives you easy access to find out more detail so you can get the best deal on a foreclosure property. Getting started is super easy. Head on out to foreclosuredealscoach.com and click on the link labeled Foreclosure List. Enter your zip code for a free 7-day trial of the best foreclosure listing data available in your local market. These properties are not even on the market yet, so you can get a jump on them and get a great deal. Once again, this is Donnie Corum, your foreclosure deals coach. We'll look forward to seeing you there.
And I'll give you a quick example. You have two very distinctive markets where I'm from, the Colorado Springs and Denver area. So they're about 60 miles apart, but from a competitive nature, they are a world apart. See, in the Springs, if you can find a gross spread on your foreclosure property, we speak about foreclosures and distressed assets here in the show, okay? We're generally looking in the Springs for a $50,000 to maybe $70,000 spread between what we're looking to acquire the property at and what we're hoping to sell the property at, okay? And that's exciting. When you get to 50, 60 grand, excited. It's a relatively competitive market, Okay, so a lot of there's more investors than say backwoods Arkansas, right? But there's not as competitive as say Denver. So you go up to Denver, 60 miles north, you roughly quintuple the population count, and suddenly it's the OK Corral shootout each and every single day. But the net result of that is, believe it or not, the gaps in the spread are much wider because the competition, the game is being played at a higher level. Okay, so I remember the poster had kind of complained that he couldn't do a deal in the competitive market because he was in Southern California. He said, there's just no deals here. It's so competitive, like there's bidding wars and everything. Listen, you got to look at that as opportunity. If you happen to be in a very competitive market right now, if you're sitting in LA or New York City, right, and you're in Miami and you're duking it out with top level real estate players who are used to making six figures, 100 grand, 120 grand a deal plus, consider yourself fortunate, and you'd better get on your game. Okay? Because your only other option is to get out of the competition and move to backwoods Arkansas, where you can learn this business in a less competitive environment. I'm not going to kid you. It's going to be tougher. This is the major leagues, baby. You know? But when you were playing pickup ball in the park, before you signed the Chicago Bulls, that was an entirely different game. Am I right?
Anybody can make a game winner there.
Exactly the point, right? So you can make a ton of money in competitive markets. Don't let agents tell you there's too much competition here, you can't buy a deal. It just means you're going to have to drive for dollars twice as often, right? Don't let people who bought retail properties and have 10, 15 grand worth of equity tell you can't find a deal. It just means you got to get your Facebook group's marketing strategy dialed in better and stronger and faster than in a non-competitive market. Right? The ability to make money exists anywhere, everywhere, all the time, and it is huge in the foreclosure market because what you're dealing with is underpriced assets that, generally speaking, only other investors want. Right? The retail market has snubbed their nose at this property that needs carpet and it needs paint and it kind of smells like dog. Right? I saw an example of a property in a very prestigious neighborhood in Colorado Springs, Colorado, that would generally retail for $650,000 in the Flying Horse neighborhood of Colorado Springs, and it was listed there for $540,000.
Okay.
Right? Already $100,000 spread. And of course, you know, I got an ego, so I'm gonna compete a little bit. I come in at $525,000, and I got my butt handed to me. Right? Because the competition swooped in, they paid more, they had their numbers lined up, I'm sure, because this is an upper end play, right? They knew how much it was going to cost to fix, and now they're going to walk away with the victory, maybe $60,000, $70,000 in equity spread on this deal after repairs. Okay, so don't tell me you can't make it in a competitive market. You can, you should, and you got to go out there. But I got to tell you this, if you're going to compete in any sport, you got to have the right tools. Right? You see all these guys with their big, you know, guy who gets his golf clubs off of a Craigslist versus the guy who just spent $3,000 on a driver, right? This guy's trying to compete by getting the best tools available in the marketplace. If you don't know how to do a valuation on a property because you don't have the right tools, and yep, I'm setting you up for a prop stream pitch.
Prop stream.
Because you got to have the right tools, and it's the very fundamentals of getting started in real estate is to learn how to do an evaluation of a property. So we're going to throw it out there as we do every single week. Click on the link attached in this the podcast notes, set up a strategy call, and we're going to do a 15-minute demo of doing an actual property evaluation on a home in your market so you can see that there are, in fact, deals out there, right? We'll pick a house that looks distressed, a HUD repo, a VA repo. We'll first find the deal, which you can do during PropStream. Then we'll evaluate the deal to see if it's actually a deal by giving you an understanding of the spread between the buy price and the sell price. Even if you're not in a position to buy your first property right at this moment, you've got to have the right tools if you're going to compete. You know, so if you're out there going, you know, I want to do this real estate investing thing, Donnie, and I love your show, but, you know, where I'm from, it's just too competitive. I can't find any deals. if I could grab you and shake you right now, I would. I would shake you because you have a better opportunity where you're sitting right now in Chicago to make millions of dollars than the guy even in Colorado Springs, which is a very competitive market, but especially compared to the guy in backwoods Arkansas right now who's looking at $10,000, $15,000 spreads. And even in those cases, I've seen guys out there in these non-competitive markets who have crushed it because they turned it into a competition. See, ladies and gentlemen, life is a competition, right? Treat it like a competitive sport. You're not just trying to wake up in the morning and go to the job that you can't stand and hope that it ends so you can get to the end of the day. And if you are doing that, that's why you're doing that. You haven't yet turned this into a competition. Life is a competitive sport, and real estate is only for the true competitors. You absolutely positively have to treat this like a competitive sport. If you're going to get out there, get the right tool right out of the gate. Get PropStream, get started, start doing evaluations. The link to sign up through our affiliate link will be right here in the show notes. And let's get you started looking at what the competition has been looking at for years, and that's why they're ahead of you. Right? You just have to take the mindset of it's competitive. And if you want to be competitive, I want to work with you. See, we do offer coaching here at Foreclosure Deals Coach, obviously, but we only work with people who are looking to crush it. Okay? And it doesn't matter whether you're at your first deal or your 50th deal or you're looking to build a team of people who's going to do 50 deals a year like my team. But I got to tell you, when I woke up in 2019, about October 2019, and took on this goal, I knew that I was going to be up against a lot of competition. I knew that there were going to be tons of struggles with hitting this objective. We didn't plan on coronavirus, I'll be honest with you, right? But I knew there'd be struggles, but that's what gets me out of bed in the morning. That's what excites me every single day, is knowing that I'm going up against a hard-to-make odds, right? It's something that's difficult. If you want a life of ease and simplicity, foreclosure investing may not be for you because it is a competitive sport. There are guys out there, if it's truly a deal, who are going to submit an offer at the same time that you are. You might have to go higher. You might have to find a better offer. You might have to close sooner. You might have to buy the property and not have to compete with contractors to get better rates on your contracting so you can fix it cheaper. I don't know where you're going to have to compete, but I'm certain of one thing. If you're going to make it and make the big bucks in real estate investing, you're going to want to treat this like a competitive sport. So how do you make money in a competitive market? You go compete. That's how you do it. You strap on your knee pads, you get out there, you put your shoulder pads on, and you get hit as hard as you can every single day. You go after it like you mean it, because if you do that, you can make a fortune, right? And if you're looking for a life of ease, this is probably not your game, man. It's probably not your game, and that's okay. I'm not here to knock anybody. We love all of our listeners on this show, but I only want to work with people who are looking to compete. If that describes you, I would be honored to do a strategy session with you where we can get into how we can compete as a team in your local market. Okay, our coaching product's a little bit different. Again, I don't want to turn this into a sales pitch, but with our coaching product, if you get selected for it, we will stick with you until you complete your first deal. Okay, it doesn't matter if it takes 3 months, which is pretty much the average, or a year. We will keep going till you get that first deal done, or you quit. It's entirely up to you. Okay, but I don't care how competitive the market is. I'm going to stick with you till we get that deal done because that's what I do here. Okay, so how to get going, because we're nearing the end of the show. You can make money in a competitive market. You just have to get your skills more dialed in, your education better, your tools more focused, your marketing better, and your team more perfect than the other team. And that's how you become an NFL winning team. Okay, and we want to get you to that point if that's what you're looking to do right here on the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. Life's a competitive sport. I hope you're here to compete. All right, get started. Join up to the Foreclosure Deals Coach Insider Group. The link will be posted into the podcast notes on this episode. Check that out. Go to the PropStream affiliate link. Get started with your free 7-day trial, and we will help you to do one property evaluation where we'll walk you through a 15-minute evaluation process. Because not only you got to compete fast. You've got to be able to do an analysis on a property in about 10, 15 minutes and be confident in making a decision to put an offer in on that property, right? Time is of the essence in this game, people. You don't have all day. right? You got to get in there and make choices. You need the right tools to do that. We can help you with that. Join the group. Check out PropStream. Let's get started. But man, if you're one of those bigger markets, I would love to coach with you. I would love to meet up with you and help you to do your first or next deal in that marketplace. It would truly be an honor to work with somebody who's about to take it to the next level in one of the bigger markets. Because just, man, that it excites me. It excites me to be a part of that.
We're ready to help. We're ready to help you out.
We want to be a part of it, really. Just join up and help you to get to the next level. With that, we want to wrap up the show. You know what your next steps are. Start competing, man. Get up every morning jazzed up. Don't just go to your job and hate it. Don't just hate your existence and just try to get by and wonder what your mortgage payment is going to make. Make life a competitive sport and then transfer that to your real estate investing career right here with a Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. That's why you're here, man, to compete. Let's play at a higher level. With that, this is Donnie Corum, your Foreclosure Deals Coach, reminding you now and always, don't buy a house, buy a deal.
Want more of the Foreclosure Deals Coach? Hit subscribe and stay tuned for more of the mindset, methodology, and tools you'll need to invest in foreclosures. Visit foreclosuredealscoach.com and text DEAL to get a list of foreclosures in your area.